On my journey to study Japanese, I have accumulated quite a few language learning resources, and I wanted to share them with you. Not every resource works the same for every person, so what works for me may not work for you. However, I just wanted to share what I have collected up until this point. And first are my two textbooks to learning hiragana and katakana. A guide to learning hiragana and katakana is probably the more simplistic of the two. It teaches several hiragana at a time, and then after it's taught those hiragana, you'll get something like this, which is a test of everything combined taught up until that point. I found this as a very useful resource, as it constantly tested whether or not I could remember everything I had just been taught. I also like that this textbook shows where the characters came from, and it also shows the stroke order, which is very important. And here's an example of one of the little tests. It gives you the English writing, the hiragana writing, and the English translation of each word. This textbook is called Kana Nyumon, and this one's a little bit more user-friendly, I think, as it involves pictures, as you can see. So if you prefer to have pictures in your textbook for more visual cues, you may prefer this one. It also offers a different option in stroke order visualization compared to the previous textbook. I like having both combined, as just one really isn't enough for me to learn. So having both of these textbooks was pretty useful for me. Moving on to grammar textbooks. Each textbook will gradually get more and more difficult, and the first one up might not be used so much in classes anymore, but it was when I was studying Japanese, and it's Genki. And Genki always starts with a very short and longer dialogue option, and then the next page will always be a list of vocabulary that was just used in that dialogue. And then the next page will be grammar, and all of the grammar will have been used in that dialogue. So I feel like Genki, even if it's not as used anymore, I do feel like it's a very good resource when you're just getting started out, because it gives you everything you need. Next up is an integrated approach to intermediate Japanese, and this one, as you can probably already see, is a little bit more difficult than Genki, but it has the same format. So as you can see, just like Genki, there are 3 instead of 1 dialogues plus 1 more, and then after the dialogues, again, it gives you all of the necessary vocabulary that you may not know that you do need to know because it was in the dialogue. And once you get through all of that, then you will make it to the grammar explanation portion. So all of the grammar that is explained here first appeared in the 4 dialogues at the very beginning of the chapter. Lastly, something important that this textbook offers that Genki doesn't is kanji. So here you can see kanji that you need to be able to write and kanji that you need to be able to read. The next textbook is moving from intermediate to advanced Japanese. This textbook, as you can probably tell already, has a lot of dialogue. This is probably the most dialogue-heavy textbook out of my quote-unquote easy textbooks. There are many pages of dialogue per chapter, and then once you make it through all of the dialogue, there is no word bank like the previous textbooks. It just goes right into the grammar. So this textbook expects you to be able to figure out what words you don't know and what kanji you don't know by yourself. As this textbook, as far as I'm remembering, does not come with a workbook, it has grammar questions right inside of the textbook. So as you can see here, you can guess the answer if you want to. This is a sample of one of many questions that the textbook offers. It doesn't teach you these kind of questions, it just expects you to be able to answer them. So you need to be able to apply your knowledge to answer these questions. I like them now, but at the time I really struggled to answer them. Can you guess what the answer is to number 1? Moving on again to Shinkansen Master N1. I only have N1 and I only have it for the vocab, unfortunately. The vocab for these series is what I find most beneficial, and they are questions like as you can see here. There is no teaching whatsoever in these textbooks. It is purely questions, and these types of questions are the exact questions you would see on the JLPT test. So it is very good practice if you're planning on taking the test. Out of all of the JLPT test prep textbooks that I've seen, This one by far is my favorite. My next textbook is Rapid Reading Japanese. And this textbook is, as the title probably has you thinking, is helping you to speed read better. Being able to read quickly in Japanese is very, very important if you want to be more fluid in your Japanese. So this textbook offers a wide variety of different articles and questions and whatnot. So here you can see they want you to choose how the sentences should end. This is pretty unique. I have never seen these kinds of questions in any other textbook, and it proved to be really good practice for me. Moving away from textbooks, these are the two first non-textbooks that I ever used to study Japanese, called 本当に怖い話. These are children's books, but that's okay. They are two from the same series. This one right here is probably my favorite of the two. And it houses a variety of different types of stories. So like you can see here, there are many different short manga stories, but there are also short stories that are just words, no pictures. This gives you many different ways to practice your Japanese. None of the stories are very long at all, and they are all rather user-friendly because they are for children. And it's not just stories. One of the reasons I loved this as much as I did is because there's quizzes, like you can see here. I always liked to collect magazines with quizzes when I was a child, like in English. So when I saw this in Japanese, it was very nostalgic for me. I loved it. I worked really, really hard to be able to complete the quiz. So it proved to be very good motivation. It teaches you how to read poems, and it teaches you how to read somebody's aura. It gives you an aura test. I thought that was really funny. But for normal manga, I would recommend choosing children's manga. So here we have Chibimaru-chan. While it isn't the most glamorous of manga, it is very good for when you're trying to study Japanese for the first time. There are hiragana over all of the kanji, so you'll never question how to read anything as long as you can read hiragana and katakana. And the stories are for children, so there's nothing complex. You'll never be confused, even if you don't understand every single word. Besides manga, children's picture books are also very good study materials. They do not use kanji whatsoever, so you may be confused sometimes with having just hiragana and katakana. However, the stories are super simple, the words are very easy to understand, there's spaces in between each word, and the pictures tend to be cute. Lastly, my all-time favorite kanji dictionary. I think that everybody needs to have a kanji dictionary. This one's my favorite. I recommend this to everybody. It shows a big picture of the kanji. It shows how many strokes it has, the onyomi, the kunyomi, the meaning, different ways that you can use the kanji. It shows examples of how you can use it in a sentence. It shows how it came to be, and it shows the stroke order. And it gives a couple examples on the correct way. So like, don't make this mistake when you're writing it. It also shows pictures. If pictures are helpful to you, they may not be, but they're there. I like them. And I just think it's a fantastic dictionary. It shows all of the kanji that students in Japan are expected to learn from grades 1 to 5. So here you can see this is a grade 2 kanji. And every year we move up, the kanji slowly get a little bit more and more difficult. I think this is a fantastic resource. It's very easy to search through because it shows everything by the stroke order. It also does show a little bit about how to read kanji, even if you don't know how to read that specific kanji. It gives you a lot of knowledge, all in just one book. And these are my favorite physical Japanese learning resources that I have. Let me know if you want to see the websites that I would recommend.